What is up, everybody? It is me, Dan, moderately anonymous MTG, and I am here today with a brand new series on the show. I know it can be difficult to get into cEDH, so I wanted to make this list of the best beginner decks for cEDH in my opinion. So if you are brand new to cEDH, welcome. I hope you enjoy this series, and if you know anybody that wants to get into cEDH, please send them these videos. And just quickly before we hop into it, please like, comment, and subscribe on the video. It's super helpful. Hit up our TCG Player and Dragon Shield affiliate links in the description if you want to help out the show, and if you want to support me directly, go hit up our Patreon to get access to our private Discord and tons of other cool benefits. And without further ado, let's hop into it. In this series, we're going to be talking about the best cEDH decks for beginners. So what exactly makes a deck good for beginners? We're going to be taking a look at decks that fit these basic criteria. Relatively easy to pick up and pilot, straightforward game plan, teaches transferable skills, and is strong and fun to play. First on our list of cEDH intro decks is my personal favorite and one that I would recommend over any other, Najeela the Blade Blossom. This is a deck that you might enjoy playing if you like attacking with creatures, if you like being an aggressive force at the table, if you like playing strong decks that remain flexible in a variety of matchups, and if you enjoy decks that have a pretty commander. Najeela is a 5-color human warrior for 2 red that says whenever a warrior attacks, you may have its controller make a 1/1 white warrior creature token that's tapped and attacking. It also has an activated ability for Wooburg that says untap all attacking creatures, they gain trample, lifelink, and haste until the end of turn. After this phase, there is an additional combat phase. Activate only during combat. The basic game plan for Najeela is simple, easy to enact, and most importantly, incredibly powerful. Najeela and her warriors are the main win con in the deck through attacking and reducing our opponent's life totals to 0. Anytime Najeela or another warrior attacks, we make more warriors, and every time we can activate her Wooburg ability, we're going to double our attacking power. Cards like Grim Hireling and Derevi Imperial Tactician allow us to start a combo of creating infinite attackers by making mana when they damage our opponents, which we can then spend into Najeela. It's important to note for this combo that the combat step is broken down into 5 different steps where players get priority and can cast spells or activate abilities in each one. There's the beginning of combat step, declare attacker step, declare blocker step, first strike combat damage step, normal combat damage step, and importantly the end of combat step. Najeela's ability can only be activated during combat, so after we hit all 3 of our opponents with warrior tokens in the combat damage step, Grim Hireling's triggered ability to give us treasures, or Derevi's triggered ability to untap permanents, including our mana sources, will trigger, resolve, and we'll have a round of priority before we move to the end of combat step where we can activate Najeela's ability, or it can be activated in the end of combat step. This means that you're going to move to another combat phase with all 5 of those steps. Our warrior tokens will create more warrior tokens when they attack, we'll activate Najeela's ability again, and we'll continue these actions until all of our opponents are dead from combat. Najeela is our main game plan for this deck, and our main mission with our cards is protecting her from opponents' spells, as well as making sure that our opponents can't win the game before we do. We have a very generous portion of our deck devoted to interactive spells, and because we're in all 5 colors, we get to run all of the best ones like the free counter suite, silence effects, and premium removal spells that can get rid of opposing blockers, stacks pieces, or in certain cases like Snap or March of Swirling Mist can save Najeela from removal. Being in 5 colors means we also have access to all of the best backup combos in the cEDH meta. Najeela connecting for combat damage isn't going to be a realistic out in 100% of your games, so our deck is layered with other win cons that are both extremely potent and require very few other slots in our deck. We're of course running Thassa's Oracle along with the Forbidden Tutors Demonic Consultation and Tainted Pact. We also run Underworld Breach, Brain Freeze, and Lion's Eye Diamond as a way to mill our opponents or ourselves to win with Thassa's Oracle, as well as Intuition is a single card that can assemble this combo. Casting Intuition, we can find Underworld Breach, Lion's Eye Diamond, and Seven's Reclamation. In almost every case, it will be correct for your opponents to give you Lion's Eye Diamond from your pile to make you discard your hand if you're going to attempt your win con, and for 8 mana we can assemble our Underworld Breach loop. If you have sufficient mana, or if you already have a Lotus Petal, you can change the LED in your Intuition pile into a Brain Freeze, or we can be flexible with some other pieces that we might need. Intuition can also be 3 removal spells, 3 win cons, 3 tutors, anything we might need in any particular moment. The last important component of this deck are the card advantage engines. Ad Nauseam is the most powerful of them, allowing us to exchange our life total for as many as 20 or 30 cards that include ideally free mana, free counter magic, and win conditions. But additionally, we have many more incremental advantage engines like Toski or Samet that synergize with Najeela, or more general card draw spells like Rhystic Study, Mystic Remora, and Esper Sentinel. Since Najeela herself isn't a source of card advantage, she can be outmaneuvered by decks with creatures like Tymna, Thrasios, or Crom at the helm, which are all very popular choices. Having a way to draw cards if we don't plan to win quickly is going to be important for this deck. The perfect opening hand can vary depending on what your pod composition looks like, but generally we want to see a hand that can cast Najeela on turn 1 or 2, a protective spell, a card draw spell, and at least a couple of lands. If we're doing nothing else, just making land drops is an incredibly powerful line of action for this deck to take, since all we need to do is land Najeela and activate her Wooburg ability. Cards that directly synergize with an early Najeela like Samut, Professional Facebreaker, or Toski are all something we love to see in our opening hands. Flexible tutors like Demonic Tutor, Diabolic Intent, or Finale of Devastation are also great cards to have in our opening hand as a plan of action to be working towards for either comboing off with Najeela, or allowing ourselves to remain flexible and tutor up a combo piece with one of our alternate win cons. Najeela is one of the best decks in the cEDH meta and has been since it was released. It's an incredibly strong 5-color shell that stays relevant through meta changes, and most importantly for beginners, it's a great way to have a fun time learning how to use some of the most common pieces of interaction, combos, and tutors in the cEDH meta. If you build or proxy this deck, you're going to have one that will be relevant for a very long time, and one that you can easily use the pieces from and the experience that you gain from playing them and port them into different decks. I hope you enjoyed this first installment of the series. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and if you want to help directly support this content, consider joining our Patreon to get access to our private Discord, early access to videos like this, and dozens of hours of bonus content. We'll see you next time, everybody. Be good to yourselves.